to review the interviews you did with the witnesses you spoke to?
Not all of them, but yes.
Okay. You haven't had a chance to review them?
I haven't reviewed, I reviewed Mr. Mitchell and Mr. Uten's recently, the others have not.
Okay. All right. So I want to start. You've been an officer for quite a while, yes?
Yes.
And so you know that when you are getting information from people, it is of the utmost importance to make sure it's accurate, right?
Yes.
And that's one thing you were doing with Ms. Smith, is confronting her with facts to test whether what she was saying was accurate, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And especially in a situation kind of with young people, they may not always be fully forthcoming in the beginning, correct?
It's not limited to young people, but yes.
Right. Especially if they think there's something they could get in trouble for, correct?
Yes.
All right. And the folks that you were speaking with in this situation, they were not, well, the two young men you spoke with, they were not lawfully allowed to have weapons, were they?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So that's something they theoretically could get in trouble for if they admitted to it.
Yes.
Okay. So when you're speaking with them, when you're speaking with Ms. Smith, you're asking questions to make sure you can verify things. One of the things you told Mr. Mitchell you would do was get his Instagram records, correct?
I may have. That doesn't come to mind off the top of my head, but it would be something I would do. But I don't know if I told him that.
Would it help refresh your recollection to see a copy of a transcript from that interview?
Sure. Yeah.
Right. One moment. Here we go. All right. I'm going to direct your attention to page 19 here. If you could quietly read that to yourself. Let me know when you've had a chance to refresh your recollection from that.
Before he answers the question, I'm going to object to hearsay. What Mr. Hogan said during the interview to anyone would be hearsay.
He's
out of court statement.
He's on the stand. He can repeat what he said.
That doesn't make it not hearsay, but
I mean, I can ask whether he asked somebody.
I think it's not hearsay in this circumstance, so overruled.
I mean, in this circumstance, it would be.
It's overruled.
Okay.
So.
So were you planning on getting Mr. Mitchell's Instagram records?
I may have been. It's hard to say. This is a lot of years ago, so it's part of my tools that I use for in each or any case that I have that I work. If there's an opportunity to pull those, and I need those, then yes. But I don't remember if I wrote a warrant for his Instagram or not.
Okay. You certainly said if you have the opportunity, you certainly had the opportunity, right?
Yes.
Okay. And with those, if you had them, you could come back to him and say, hey, was this true? Was this not true from what you told me, correct?
Yes, I could, yeah.
Okay. And Mr. Mitchell and Mr. Uten, they were both cooperative, correct?
Yes.
So if you wanted to follow up with them, they gave you no indication that they wouldn't speak to you or anything like that. They were readily available.
Yes, not at the time they were cooperating with me that day, yes.
You didn't attempt to contact them any other times, though, did you?
I don't recall doing so, no.
Okay. So in this case, do you recall what search warrants you did take out?
No, not all of them, no.
Okay. Do you recall taking out warrants for Instagram records?
I do.
Do you recall whose records you requested?
No, I got little rods. I got Bally's. And without going through the index on my report, I can't tell you exactly, but I know I got little rods and I got Bally's. I got Rodalius Ryans and I got Damone Blaylocks. May have gotten Mariah's and Brazy's as well, the Tyara Hartfield and Ms. Smith.
Okay. What was your purpose in getting those records?
It's any information there that might help with the investigation.
Okay. Did you look at those records?
Not personally, no. I looked at some of the pictures. It comes in a format. Again, as I indicated, I'm not a computer guy. I'm not even on social media. I gave that information to somebody who could put it in a format that was easier to read, and then those people looked through it, and they let me know what they found.
So it wasn't for you to get more information. Someone else was supposed to get more
The
information.
information is going to come to me. It just didn't come through me.
So at what point did you get the information of what was contained in those Instagram messages?
When they gave it to me, I don't know what day it was.
Who's they?
I don't remember who the analyst was that did the examination of those records.
Okay. And the examination of those records, I would assume you included in your report?
Some of them, yes.
Some of them. Could you let me know then when? I assume if you put them in your report, it says then when you got them, correct?
It says when I put it in the report. Let me see.
I mean, that's something you would put in the report, right?
One that jumps out at me was from February the 26th of 2019. Somebody sent me an Instagram post on that day, and it was a short video that showed Mr. Ryan riding in a car.
Okay, but that's not the Instagram records, right?
It's from Instagram.
That's not the Instagram records for which you obtained a search warrant to get so you could get more information, correct?
I haven't verified it, but if it came from his Instagram and I got a search warrant for his Instagram, then yes, it would be in there. I
Right.
just got it before I got the search warrant.
And it wasn't in there? Where was it?
I'm sorry, if you
It
could
was
repeat that last
posted.
part.
It was posted. Somebody saw it. They sent it to me. If my search warrant had not been executed and the information sent back to me at that time, it would be included in both records, but I got it before the search warrant records came in because somebody sent it to me right after it was posted.
Okay, I think a second ago, because you said you didn't confirm it, right?
You're going to have to, I don't understand what you're saying. I've confirmed it. Yeah, what are you talking about?
Well, I think about the content of the messages, you said you did not confirm with the records.
I just said I'm assuming
Right.
if it's in his Instagram records, I received it before the records came back from the search warrant. I'm assuming that that information that I received that day before the records came back would be in the records when they arrived to me.
Okay. So without those records, having looked at them, there was no way for you to go to Ms. Smith or Mr. Mitchell or anyone else and say, hey, you told me X, Y, Z, but your records say something completely different. Right?
I did not do that, no.
Okay. You could have done it though, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that would have been confirming, right?
Sure, yes.
I want to ask you about what you testified to earlier about the actual crime scene. Mr. Abbasi asked you questions about where you found certain things. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And you answered questions about where you found those 7.62 shell casings, right?
Groups of casings.
But you didn't actually find those casings, did
No, I did not.
you? Those photos, you weren't there when they were taken, right?
No,
You never saw where those 7.62 casings were.
not physically, no.
So when you say you found them, you didn't find them. Someone else did.
I said they were found. I'm not sure that I said I did.
Okay. When did you learn about those casings?
Later on the same day that the murder happened, I was at the office when I got the call.
Okay. And when you spoke with Mr. Mitchell and Mr. Uten, were you aware of those casings?
As I recall, it was around the same time. I don't remember exactly the sequence of events, but I spoke with them later on in the morning. It was sometime around the same, a lot of things were happening at the same time, that we got the call about the shell cases. That's one of the reasons I did not physically see them, because I was busy at the office. So I asked the responding officer to collect them and supervise that. But I don't remember the sequence of when exactly they came in.
Okay. Would it help refresh your recollection to see a copy from your trial testimony?
Sure.
I'm sorry, not your trial testimony, the last proceeding, several proceedings ago.
Okay, sure.
Getting impeached by both parties, both sides of the aisle. Oh my goodness. They really are whispering at this table here. Whisper, whisper, whisper.
All right, I'm going to direct your attention to page 1076 from the prior hearing. Also turn to page 1078 if that's helpful as well.
Okay.
Oh, I don't think this is a stupid question, Zion. Zion says, why would Abbasi agree to call said witness for the defense to, quote, alleviate the situation if he wasn't providing cover for a mistake? And I think they have to be conscientious that this is up on appeal, right? The state has to be aware of that just as much as Ryan's counsel.
All right, so what's your question again?
If when you spoke with Mr. Mitchell and Mr. Uten, you were aware of the 7.62 shell casings.
Oh.
I was aware that they described to me two shooters, but I don't recall if I knew about the shell cases at that
But you
time.
found them
I
the
may
same
have,
day.
I don't remember.
You said that they described to you two shooters?
Yes.
Okay. You've got a transcript in front of you, so you've testified about this before, correct? This matter?
Yes.
Okay. And you don't recall attorneys asking you at length whether anyone besides Ms. Smith mentioned two shooters?
I read here that they were asking me about that, yes.
Okay. And your testimony was that Ms. Smith was the only person who said there was two shooters, right?
Yes. That's what it says here.
I mean, when you...
Wait, before we get too far around here, let's make sure we got the right context.
Okay, tell us.
You want to flip to page 1,100.
No, let me read these first.
Okay.
On page 1076, as I recall, they were asking me about my interview with Miss Mitchell, and I had mentioned to her that I had 2 sets of shell casings. They were trying to determine if she.
Okay, well, I don't need you to testify about what someone else is trying to do.
So what I'm saying is context matters. In this particular instance, I was describing my interview with her, and in the process of the interview, when I was confronting her with the evidence, I told her that I had 2 sets of shell casings.
Yes, I understand that.
You said page 1100?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So having reviewed that page, Mariah was the only person who said there was 2 shooters, right?
According to that transcript, yes, ma'am.
According to
was the
that
sworn testimony
transcript.
under oath, right?
That's what I said. Yes, yes, yes.
All right, so that
Wow.
was the truth that you said then, right?
Yes.
And I'm going to back up for a moment. I think you said Mr. Mitchell and Uten, they told you about not 7.62, but a weapon which would have fired larger shells. Is that right?
Yeah, they described a long gun coming out of the breezeway. Yes.
Okay. And when you were speaking with them, that was not consistent with the scene as you had seen it, right?
Again, I don't remember exactly when I got all the information about the shell casings. So at
You
that
said
point,
you got
I
it
was
that
just getting- I was
day.
getting his statement,
At your office.
and I took it as he gave it to me.
Did you not previously testify about the shell casings? I did not know about it when I interviewed Mitchell and Uten.
Okay, well, if my recollection was that then, I don't remember that now. If I didn't know about the shell casings then, if that's what I said, then that's what I said.
Okay. But you didn't confront them with what at that time would have been their testimony inconsistent with the scene, right?
No.
Okay. And they both told you 1 shooter.
I'm gonna object to hearsay.
It would be nice if they could be on the stand.
The number of shooters they told you was not the same as Miss Smith, correct?
That's the same question, just worded differently.
We've already been through this.
I'm going to overrule that one.
Bernard Mitchell described the shooter coming out of the breezeway, and also the shooter when he was going around. He was right beside he described the person right outside the car shooting in the car.
So that would
Described
be,
dreads and a hoodie.
so that would be he described to you 2 shooters, based on what you just told me.
Yes, based on my just reviewing my interview with him the other day.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna have you take, so you don't recall testifying that Mr. Mitchell actually never said anything about 2 shooters?
I got a sneaking suspicion you're going to show me that I did, but as I sit here, I don't
Oh.
recall that. No.
Because
You were able to
remember,
review your interview with him, correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay. You still have that transcript in front of you?
No.
Remember Mariah testimony on cross
this
with
it?
DeWilliams?
Oh, okay.
Story change after Detective Casey said you better adopt Hogan's story about there being two
Take
shooters.
a look and see if that helps refresh your recollection about whether he told you there were two shooters.
Wow.
It may or may not refresh his recollection, but I'm gonna object against it.
That's ruining my case.
I'm gonna object to hearsay.
This is impeachment of what the officer previously said.
I'll let you ask about whatever he previously said.
Do you have a page or an area that I need to look through exactly?
Is Whitaker doing that thing where she feels bad for kind of being catty with somebody earlier in the morning?
It's a long interview.
No, sir.
How many pages are we talking about?
Can't see, maybe about 20. I can't see if that's right. It could be more. You know what? We can come back to it. We'll probably have a break and you can take a look and get back to me.
Okay, sure.
Cool. So when you went out to the scene at the time, you were looking to speak with other witnesses, correct? If there were any.
Originally, when I first got to the scene, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You were trying to speak with as many people as you could, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And you had access to the cab reports from the 911 calls, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you had access to the 911 calls themselves, correct?
Eventually, yes, I did.
Okay. And anyone you spoke with, you would have put that in your report, correct?
Yes, most of the general information. I don't necessarily put all the details, but yes.
Okay, but like their name, right?
Not always. If they don't wish for the name to be included, if I can exclude them, I will.
Fair. But you never spoke to the 911 callers, did you?
No,
Even though you had their name and contact information, right?
that's right.
Even though you were aware that one of them wanted to speak to the police, right?
If I was aware of that, I would have spoken with them.
Not really good when you're the detective to say you weren't aware, so you didn't do something. It's kind of your job to find out, be aware, and talk to people about it. Confront people with what you find.
I'm going to approach you with what has already been previously admitted into evidence and marked as states 1NN Nancy.
Okay.
Okay. And that is one of the cab reports you've reviewed, correct?
It appears to be a CAD report from the case. I can't say I reviewed it, but this seemed to be from the case, yes.
So you didn't review the cabs, or you did?
Well, I look at it, I verify that it's got the right address on there, and if there's any information as the case progresses, and if I need to get back in touch with anybody, like a 911 caller, I would do that.
Okay. So you didn't see the...
And I would use the CAD report to get that number
Okay.
and name. In this particular case, I didn't see the instance to it. Didn't need it.
You didn't need to see the person who wanted to speak with you?
I wasn't aware of that person.
So you didn't review the cab?
I looked at the front page. I didn't read every word. No, ma'am.
Okay. And so you didn't listen to the 911 calls?
No.
Okay. So if you're trying to speak to as many witnesses as you can, why wouldn't you speak to the 911 caller who wants to speak with you?
Again, I didn't get the word that they wanted to speak with me, or I would have. My plate was pretty full. I talked to a lot of people when I did a lot of work that day.
Oh, okay, you were too busy.
Yes, I was busy.
Okay.
I would have been argumentative. I would have said too busy trying to get Mariah to change her story.
So
I
when-
would have done it.
Mr. Mitchell and Mr. Uten. No, let me back up. The photos of the 7.62 shells, you didn't take those, correct?
I did not.
Okay, were they just sent to you, is that right?
Yeah, they were included with the report, yes.
Okay. And so is it from those photos you pieced together, say 10 NN that you've drawn a line on?
Yeah, too busy for a homicide when Love said, "Oh, someone can't be here because they're too busy investigating homicides out in the streets," or whatever Love said that day. So she was
10
looking
you
for
drew this line,
records.
correct?
I did.
Okay. And the Earth image or whatever it is, that accurately depicted the apartment complex as you observed it, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So, and the line on the left side where it starts, that's your belief, that's where the 7.62 shell casings were?
That's correct, yes.
All right. I'm going to put up on the screen for you what has been admitted as 59 NN. I don't know if it is the share screen. Thank you. All right.
Lady C, this
So,
isn't uncommon for cops.
Looking at 59,
Great on direct, terrible on
NN.
cross.
What is it you see next to kind of that entryway, exitway, by the sidewalk to the building?
Well, I see satellite dish and an AC unit.
Okay, AC unit. And then you were standing at that AC unit looking at the parking lot. What is to your right? We have a line of bushes.
I'm turned around here. I don't understand what.
If you're standing next to that AC unit with the AC unit on your right, you're looking at the parking lot. Do we have a line of bushes there?
Yes.
All right. Could you flip back to 10 and then? So looking at 10 NN, officer, you said it was consistent. What happened to that line of bushes?
They're not there.
Okay, what happened to the AC unit?
It's not there.
So how is that possible?
Well, when I got the information from the officer, I memorialized what he told me, what he found. He said it's by the Y building. I was assuming that Y building was where I indicated right there.
Oh, okay, so
on
you
the
just
map.
assumed that.
I did, yeah.
Okay,
It's in the same complex. The picture with the shell casings is in the same complex. I think it's in the next building back in that little courtyard.
okay. But so you didn't go out to the scene and see where those 7.62 casings were, right?
I've said that a couple times.
So you can't say for sure actually that 10 NN is even where those were found, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Oh, he said
I can
yes,
say they
that's
came from the
correct.
complex, but
Fair.
exactly where in the complex, I don't know.
Fair. And with this image, I'm going to point you to, I guess I can't really point to it. That corner right there, right?
Yes.
That's where Ms. Smith indicated one of the shooters would be, correct?
Stickers.
I don't recall that.
Where do you recall she said the shooters were?
She said, if my recollection is correct, she saw somebody walking out of the breezeway.
Here?
Yes. I believe, yes.
Okay. So all those casings should be right there.
Yeah, but the buildings are
They were shooting through the
very
building.
similar in design, and there's two sets. So there's breezeway that goes through both sets of buildings.
Oh, okay. So they're very similar. So
So it's easily confused, is what I'm saying, as far as locations, because the buildings look very similar.
okay. So you may have been easily confused, right?
I was confused, yes.
Okay.
You were confused, but you're using
And
what you said to get someone to change their
Smith-
story.
During the earlier parts of her interview, she had only talked about one shooter, right?
I recall she said she saw someone with a long gun, and she heard shots. I don't recall if she indicated whether there's more than one shooter or not. I don't remember that. Should I refer
Okay.
to something?
So earlier on in the interview, or when in her interview, I think you talked about, she said some things which weren't consistent,
Yep,
and then you consoled her,
yes,
and then she was more consistent after that, right?
yes.
So when was it that she began telling you, back this up. At what point between those did she go from one shooter to two shooters?
I know when she described to me, she said she described the two guys that she was with, and she described each one of them having a different kind of weapon. I recall that, but I don't recall if she stated that she saw anybody shooting. She just stated that she heard shots and ran.
Okay.
Saw both of them with guns, but I don't recall if she said she saw them shooting.
I guess my question was, when in her interview, before or after the consoling?
It was after the consoling.
Okay. 'Cause before that, it was only one shooter, right?
I knew that story she was telling me was crap, so I really wasn't paying much attention to it.
Okay.
So I don't remember what
Okay.
she said.
And it was between what was the consoling? I'll go there.
What was what?
When you consoled her.
Hmm?
What do you mean by that?
Well, I'm a husband and a father. I've got a daughter. I just spoke to her in a fatherly tone, assured her of her safety, and calmed her down and encouraged her to tell the truth.
Okay. But she didn't start doing that until after she was told to, I think, sing her ass off, right?
I don't recall if that was said or who said it.
You don't recall that.
I'm not saying
Play
it
the
wasn't said,
interview.
I just don't remember.
Play
who
the
said it.
tape.
Yeah.
Okay.
Play the tape.
And there were discussions during that interview about whether she was implicating herself, right?
I don't recall.
Whether she could be going home or not?
I don't remember that.
She wasn't concerned with, or didn't seem as though she was concerned about getting in trouble?
She was concerned about getting in trouble, yeah.
Okay. And so I want to back it up. She came in, she's telling you a bunch of things. They're not adding up. You console her. And then she is telling you something consistent with the evidence, right?
Yes.
Okay. But that part didn't happen until you were the first one to bring up that someone had a rifle, right? As opposed to just a small gun, right?
I indicated that there were two types of shell casings, a rifle round and a small caliber.
Okay. Before that, she had not described two types of rounds, correct?
Like I said, I haven't seen that interview in quite a while. I do not recall.
Okay. You're the one who brought up a second person there to ambush, right?
I described two types of shell casings indicating that it was two shooters, yes. Implication there is two shooters.
Okay. So you made that implication and then we had two shooters, right?
Yes.
Okay. What more did you do to confirm what she was telling you?
And what, do you have an example that you'd like me to
Have a look
answer?
at her
'Cause there's-
records.
She told me a lot.
Right. She told you about different things that Mr. Mitchell did or Mr. Uten did, right?
Yes.
And those weren't consistent with what you learned from them, right?
Yeah, they were fairly consistent.
Okay. So when you spoke to Mr. Mitchell, that's when you learned about him putting a gun to her head?
Oh, yeah, she did say that about him, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, that's the story and I didn't believe her, so I
Right.
forgot about it, yeah.
So it would make sense if she's telling you these stories that you would want to confirm them, right?
If it's the truth, yes.
Right. And she told you things about, well, let me ask you. You never went back to Mr. Uten or Mr. Mitchell and asked about whether everyone had been chatting together, like she told you, right?
Oh, no, they described in their interview that they had been texting with the girls.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant that everyone, the defendants, everyone came out and was chatting together before this happened.
I don't think that came out with Mitchell and,
Okay.
yes.
All right. So they didn't say it, she did, but you didn't go back and say, hey, this witness told me this. No?
No.
Okay. And you didn't go back and look at her Instagram records, right?
I don't think so, no.
So you couldn't confirm whether she said she'd been talking to the victim every day, right?
Bless you, the victim. No, I didn't.
Okay. You could have though, right? Because you said you got a records or you ordered them, did a warrant for them?
Yes.
Okay. And she told you about a specific type of van that Mr. Ryan's mother drove, correct?
Yes.
You didn't go check and see if she actually had a van like that, did you?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
And that's in your report?
I don't think so, but I did do it. I noticed it. Let me look see. It might be in the report. We went to go talk to his mother.
Mm-hmm. She was cooperative, right?
She was.
You didn't ask to search the van, did you?
No.
And that van would have been, based on what you were told, used basically as a getaway vehicle, right?
Yes.
So it could have a murder weapon in it, right?
Yes.
Could have gunshot residue all over the steering wheel, right?
No, unless it was shot from the car.
Okay. Those wouldn't transfer from someone's hands?
I don't know, maybe.
Maybe. But you didn't get a search warrant to check either of those things, did you?
No.
And within just a few hours, you had an address for Mr. Blalock, correct?
I did.
And you didn't get a search warrant for that apartment either.
No.
So you made no effort to look for what would have been the alleged murder weapon, right?
That's correct.
Okay. That would have been useful, right? If you had that, that's great evidence.
I've worked 100 murders. I never got one.
Never.
Ms. Abbasi, let's pause for a minute and take our morning break. And if you, do you want
we're
him to
taking a
look
break.
at whatever that
Oh, sure. thank you.
portion was while we break? Okay.
Sure. He's welcome to. And Officer, I'll hand you your other transcripts and you can look at whatever you need to.
Interesting, he says 100 and he's never gotten a search warrant, and he makes it seem like they don't ever get to search for these things. But we have that Water Street incident in this trial where Shart has said, you know, there may have been something improper about that search warrant, or the state has misrepresented what was actually found during that search warrant. So these search warrants after a shooting are obtainable, and he just gave something maybe hyperbolic, or he's an extreme rarity, an exception, where for whatever reason he's never
Can I ask you to
gotten
actually
one of these
step
search warrants.
outside, if you don't mind?
Oh, sure.
Thanks. I've just got to deal with another matter. How about you start with whatever it is that you wanted him to actually, that you asked him on the stand about? Okay. I mean, you can give him all of them, but I'd like for him to start with the one that you specifically asked about.
They'll be here.
All right. Okay, so there's been some back and forth about the whole Mitchell, that's his last name, right, thing.
Did she review it?
Ms. Abbasi, you said that you kind of gestured in a vague direction towards the holding cell door at the end of the day without mentioning anybody's name, and asked who the witnesses would be tomorrow, which is now today. And the state's answer did not include either of those people. And then, of course, there was some point in time in which the state was maybe going to get Mr. Mitchell, and I don't know what they were going to do, put him on the stand, just, I don't know, as a concession to Ms. Abbasi, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, just FYI, Mr. Mitchell is here and available. I'm just letting y'all know that. And I kind of need to know before the lunch hour, or whenever this next, the witness that's on the stand right now is over with, if he's going to be called. Let's go ahead and call him next so that he can be whatever's going to happen, and then transported away back to where he
Right,
has
so we're
been
getting Mitchell.
staying before this time.
The issue raised on the defense is his messages would kind of affect what sort of road we went down with the defense. We've already gone down that road.
All right.
The mistrial has been denied. There's no further, I'm no longer insisting at this point he be called. Whatever damage has been done has been done. So working
All
with
right,
what we have.
just wanted to let y'all know. Okay, so then, does the state want to call him? If not, tell me now, and I'll have him shipped back.
No, I think this line of hearsay questions has cured any sort of
He's so snarky.
issue as it relates to a mistrial and confronting Mr. Mitchell, since she's been able to do it without Mr. Mitchell even testifying.
All right. Thank you. Let's take our break.
So I guess Abbasi said, I'm cooking so much I don't need to